The credit monitoring alert hit my phone at 0347 hours while I was running pre-flight checks on a C-130J at Yokota Air Base. I'm Command Sergeant Major Julian Salazar, 38 years old, Air Force Logistics, currently stationed at Yokota Air Base, Japan. Been deployed here for 8 months. The notification should have been routine. Credit inquiries happen. But this one made my blood freeze. Someone had applied for a rental apartment in Denver using my social security number. Yesterday, while I was 7,000 miles away conducting cargo operations. I stared at the screen in the dim cockpit lighting. The inquiry came from Mountain View Property Management. Address listed: 2847 Elm Street, Denver, Colorado. I'd never heard of either. My credit monitoring app showed the timestamp: Tuesday, 1,423 hours Mountain Time. I checked my duty roster. I was briefing air crews on cargo manifest procedures at that exact moment. Witnesses could verify my location. The application listed my annual salary correctly. My mother's maiden name. Even my previous duty stations going back 6 years. Information that wasn't public record. I scrolled through recent alerts. 3 more rental inquiries in the past week. All Colorado addresses. All while I was documented on base in Japan. My hands stayed steady on the controls, but my mind raced. Someone was using my identity to hunt for housing. They had access to military personnel files. They knew my deployment schedule. The cargo bay door hydraulics whined as they sealed shut. Standard pre-flight procedure. But nothing felt standard anymore. I pulled up my banking app. Account balances looked normal. No unauthorized transactions. Credit cards showed only my usual purchases at the base exchange and commissary. But the rental applications kept coming. The alerts proved someone was systematically using my credentials to establish residency in Colorado. Building a paper trail. Creating a false presence. The pilot's voice crackled through the headset. "Sergeant Major, we're cleared for takeoff." I acknowledged and secured my phone. But the questions burned. Who had access to my complete military record? Who knew my deployment timeline well enough to operate freely while I was overseas? The C-130 lifted off into the pre-dawn darkness. Below us, Yokota's runway lights faded into the distance. Above us, stars stretched endlessly across the Pacific sky. Someone was stealing my life piece by piece. And they were just getting started. The rental applications started 3 months ago. I didn't know that yet. Back then, I was focused on preparing for deployment. Command Sergeant Major Julian Salazar, 34 years old, United States Air Force. 15 years of service. My orders came through in January. 6-month rotation to Yokota Air Base, Japan. Cargo Operations Specialist. My college roommate Marcus Chen called 2 weeks before I shipped out. We'd kept in touch sporadically since graduation. He worked in property management now. Denver area. "Julian, man, congratulations on the promotion," he said. His voice carried that familiar enthusiasm. "Command Sergeant Major, that's huge." I was packing my gear. "Thanks. Long time coming. Listen, I'm between apartments right now. Landlord's selling. Could I crash at your place while you're deployed? Just until I find something permanent. I owned a small house in Colorado Springs, 20 minutes from Peterson Space Force Base, where I'd been stationed before Japan. The mortgage was manageable. Renting it out during deployment made financial sense." "Sure," I said. "I'll leave keys with my neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez. She has my contact info." "Perfect. I really appreciate this, Julian. You're saving my ass." Marcus had always been reliable. 4 years as roommates at Colorado State. He helped me through calculus. I helped him through his parents' divorce. We graduated together, stayed friends. I trusted him. The first month in Japan passed smoothly. Cargo flights to Guam, Philippines, South Korea. Standard rotation duties. I checked my bank account weekly. Mortgage payments cleared automatically. Utilities stayed current. Marcus texted occasionally. Updates about the house. Lawn maintenance. Minor repairs. Normal tenant communication. Then the credit monitoring alerts started. The first one seemed innocent. Rental inquiry from Aspen Ridge Apartments. I assumed it was Marcus apartment hunting. The alert showed my name, but property. Managers often ran credit checks on references. The second alert raised questions. Different property company. Same day. Why would Marcus need my credit report for multiple applications? I called him. Voicemail. Time zones made communication difficult. The third alert came with details that made my stomach drop. The application listed me as the primary applicant. Not a reference. Not a cosigner. The primary tenant seeking a 2-bedroom apartment in Lakewood, Colorado. I was 7,000 miles away conducting cargo operations. I pulled my complete credit report that night. 3 rental inquiries in 2 weeks, all showing me as the applicant. All while I was documented on base in Japan. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. House is great. Thanks again for letting me stay. I stared at the message. He was thanking me for housing, while simultaneously applying for apartments using my identity. The timeline didn't match his story. I called Mrs. Rodriguez, my neighbor. She confirmed Marcus was living at my house. But she'd seen other people coming and going. Different cars in the driveway. Activity at odd hours. I thought maybe you'd given him permission to have guests, she said. I hadn't. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of credit alerts. Timestamps of my duty assignments. Photos of my location stamps from base security systems. The rental applications accelerated. 5 more in the next week. All Colorado addresses. All listing my military salary. All including personal information that wasn't public record. My mother's maiden name, Gutierrez. Listed correctly. My previous duty stations. Peterson, Ramstein, Dover, McCord. Listed in chronological order. My security clearance level. Secret. Listed accurately. Someone with access to my military personnel file was systematically using my identity to establish residency in Colorado. Building a false presence. Creating documentation that I was living stateside while deployed overseas. I contacted my unit's security officer. Staff Sergeant Williams reviewed the evidence. Her expression darkened as she scrolled through the alerts. This is identity theft with military implications, she said. Someone's using classified personnel information. She initiated a formal investigation. Military police interviewed me. I provided complete documentation. Timeline evidence. Witness statements confirming my location. The investigation revealed the scope. 17 rental applications over 3 months. All using my complete military profile. All targeting high-end apartments in Denver metro area. But the applications weren't random. They followed a pattern. Each property required first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit. Total upfront costs ranging from $4,000 to $8,000. None of the applications resulted in approved leases. The applicant would submit paperwork, pay application fees, then disappear before signing contracts. Application fees averaged $200 per property. 17 applications, over $3,000 in fees alone. I checked my bank statements again. No unauthorized withdrawals. My accounts remained untouched. Whoever was doing this had their own funding source. The military police traced the applications to a specific email address, j.salazar.military@gmail.com, not my email. A convincing fake using my name and military affiliation. They tracked the IP addresses, all originated from Denver area networks. All during hours when I was documented on duty in Japan. The investigation narrowed to people with access to my personnel file. Military databases required security clearance. The suspect pool was limited. Then Staff Sergeant Williams called with the breakthrough. "We found the source," she said. "Your roommate Marcus Chen works for Pinnacle Property Solutions. They have contracts with military housing offices. He has legitimate access to personnel databases for verification purposes. My chest tightened. Marcus had been using his professional access to steal military records. My records. Building a complete identity profile while I trusted him with my house. There's more, Williams continued. We traced the rental applications. He's been using your identity to collect application fees, then abandoning the process. Classic advance fee fraud. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. Marcus wasn't just stealing my identity. He was running a systematic scam using my military credentials as bait. Landlords trusted military applicants. They paid application fees up front based on that trust. He'd been operating for months, using my house as his base, using my friendship as cover, using my deployment as opportunity. I stared out at the Japanese countryside beyond the base perimeter. Cherry blossoms were blooming. Spring was arriving, but I felt cold inside. Marcus Chen had stolen more than my identity. He'd stolen my trust, my friendship, my sense of security. And he was about to discover that Command Sergeant Major Julian Salazar didn't forgive betrayal. The confrontation required careful planning. Military police couldn't arrest Marcus without solid evidence. His legitimate access to personnel databases created legal complications. Special Agent Thompson from the FBI White-Collar Crime Unit flew to Denver. The case crossed state lines. Federal jurisdiction applied when military personnel were targeted. We need a recorded confession, Thompson explained during our video conference. His database access gives him plausible deniability. We need him admitting to intentional fraud. Staff Sergeant Williams coordinated with Denver police. They would monitor the sting operation. Multiple agencies meant multiple protocols. I requested emergency leave. Command approved it within hours. Identity theft targeting deployed service members was a priority issue. The flight to Denver took 14 hours. I landed at 6:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus thought I was still in Japan. Thompson briefed me at the FBI field office. We've identified 17 fraudulent applications using your identity. Total attempted theft. $8,400 in application fees. He's been careful to stay below felony thresholds. The plan was simple. I would confront Marcus at my house. Wear a wire, get him talking. Let his arrogance do the rest. Williams provided backup surveillance. 2 unmarked cars would monitor the street. Denver police would handle the arrest once we had confession evidence. I drove to my house at 2:15 p.m. Marcus's Honda Civic sat in my driveway. The audacity was staggering. He was using my house as his office while stealing my identity. The front door was unlocked. I walked in quietly. Marcus sat at my kitchen table with his laptop open. Rental application forms were spread across the surface. My personal documents were stacked beside his computer. He looked up when I entered. His face went white. "Julian, what are you doing here?" "Emergency leave," I said. "Funny thing happened. Someone's been using my name for rental applications." Marcus closed his laptop slowly. "That's weird. Identity theft is getting crazy these days." I sat across from him. The wire felt heavy against my chest. "Yeah, really crazy. They even knew details about my deployment, my rank, my housing situation. Military records get hacked all the time," Marcus said. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "True, but this person had access to current personnel files. Real-time information. Almost like they worked in property management or something." Marcus stood up. "I should probably get going. Let you settle back in." "Sit down, Marcus." He hesitated, then sat. The rental applications were still visible on the table. My name was printed on 3 different forms. "Those look like rental applications," I said. "Yeah. I'm helping some clients find places. Property management stuff." I picked up one of the forms. My name was in the applicant field. My social security number. My military ID number. This one has my information on it. Marcus grabbed for the paper. That's probably just a template. I use examples to show clients how to fill them out. With my real social security number? I must have grabbed the wrong form. Sorry about that. I pulled out my phone and opened the recording app. Set it on the table between us. Marcus, I know what you've been doing. The FBI knows what you've been doing. This is your chance to explain. His face crumpled. The confident facade disappeared. It wasn't supposed to hurt you, he said quietly. What wasn't supposed to hurt me? The applications. I was just trying to make some extra money. Property management doesn't pay enough. So you decided to steal my identity. I didn't steal anything. I just borrowed your information. You were deployed. You weren't using it. The logic was insane. I wasn't using my identity? You know what I mean. You weren't applying for rentals. I figured no one would notice. 17 applications, Marcus. $8,400 in attempted fraud. His eyes widened. How do you know about the applications? Because I'm not an idiot. Because the military police investigated. Because the FBI is involved now. Marcus put his head in his hands. This is so messed up. Tell me how it worked. I had access to personnel files through Pinnacle. Military housing verification is part of my job. I saw your deployment orders. Figured you'd be gone for months. So you decided to commit fraud. I created the fake email address, used your information to apply for rentals, collected application fees. Then I'd disappear before the background checks came back. Using my house as your base of operations. You said I could stay here. I was paying utilities. I didn't say you could run a criminal enterprise from my kitchen. Marcus looked up. It wasn't supposed to be criminal. I was just trying to get ahead. By stealing from landlords. Using my military service as bait. Military applicants get approved faster. Landlords trust service members. The admission was clear. Premeditated fraud using my military credentials. How long have you been doing this? 3 months. Maybe 4. How many other service members? Marcus hesitated. Just you. Don't lie to me. Okay, there were 2 others. But their deployments ended. I had to stop. 3 victims. All deployed military personnel. All trusting friends who gave Marcus access to their homes. The FBI wants to talk to you, I said. I can pay you back. I still have most of the money. This isn't about money anymore, Marcus. This is about betrayal. Thompson's voice came through my earpiece. We have enough. Bring him outside. I stood up. We're going for a ride. Where? FBI field office. You're going to tell them everything you just told me. Marcus started crying. Julian, please. I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. And now you're going to face the consequences. We walked outside together. The unmarked cars were already moving. Denver police units appeared from both directions. Marcus saw the badges and stopped walking. You were wearing a wire. I was protecting myself and other service members you might target. Special Agent Thompson approached with handcuffs. Marcus Chen, you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit fraud. The arrest was clean, professional. Marcus didn't resist. Thompson read him his rights while Williams documented the scene. The rental applications were collected as evidence. At the FBI office, Marcus confessed to everything. The fake email accounts, the stolen personnel files, the systematic targeting of deployed military personnel. Jar tree case, he provided details about the other 2 victims. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez from Fort Carson, Petty Officer Kim from Naval Station Norfolk. Both had trusted Marcus with house-sitting duties during deployment. The investigation expanded. Federal prosecutors filed charges in 3 jurisdictions. The case became a multi-state operation. Marcus pled guilty to avoid trial. The evidence was overwhelming. His own recorded confession sealed his fate. The judge sentenced him to 18 months in federal prison. 3 years probation. Full restitution to all victims and defrauded landlords. Pinnacle Property Solutions fired him immediately. His security clearance was permanently revoked. His career in property management was over. The other victims thanked me for exposing the scheme. Rodriguez had noticed suspicious credit inquiries, but couldn't trace the source. Kim had received strange calls from landlords, but dismissed them as wrong numbers. My identity was restored. Credit monitoring showed no further unauthorized activity. The fake email accounts were permanently disabled. But the betrayal left deeper scars than financial damage. 6 months later, I was back at Yokota Air Base. The deployment rotation had ended. My new assignment kept me stateside for the foreseeable future. The paperwork nightmare was finally resolved. My credit score had recovered completely. The fraudulent applications were expunged from all systems. My identity was clean again. Marcus served his full sentence. 18 months in federal prison. I never visited him. Never wrote letters. Some bridges burned completely. The FBI used our case as a training example. Special Agent Thompson presented it at conferences about military-targeted fraud. The recording became evidence in similar investigations. I received updates about the other victims. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez bought a house in Colorado Springs. His credit had recovered faster than expected. Petty Officer Kim transferred to San Diego. She started fresh with new banking relationships. Williams got promoted to Technical Sergeant. We stayed in contact through secure military channels. He continued working cybersecurity cases across the Pacific Theater. The rental companies implemented new verification procedures. Background checks became more thorough. Military deployment status required additional documentation. The loopholes Marcus exploited were systematically closed. I changed my approach to personal security. New passwords for everything. 2-factor authentication on all accounts. Credit monitoring became a monthly ritual instead of an afterthought. Trust became more selective. Friendship required deeper verification. The casual openness of college relationships felt naive now. Experience teaches harsh lessons about human nature. My new apartment in Virginia was modest. Single bedroom. Basic furniture. No roommates, no house sitters during temporary duty assignments. Independence felt safer than convenience. I started speaking at veteran transition seminars. The topic was financial security during deployment. My story served as a cautionary tale about identity protection. Other service members asked detailed questions about prevention strategies. The work felt meaningful. Practical. Every presentation might prevent another Marcus Chen situation. Education was the best defense against sophisticated fraud schemes. I advise veteran service organizations on guarding property rights. The consulting work supplemented my military income. It also provided purpose beyond personal recovery. The betrayal had taught me valuable lessons about verification and documentation. Those skills transferred well to helping other veterans navigate complex housing situations. Prevention was always better than prosecution. My evenings were quiet now. Reading, exercise, video calls with family. The constant vigilance had relaxed into normal caution. Sleep came easier without wondering what Marcus might be planning next. The silence in my apartment was different from the tense quiet of investigation. This was peaceful. Earned through months of legal battles and systematic recovery, the chaos had finally settled into manageable routine. It was finally over, and the silence felt earned.